Hello, my turtles, and welcome to another video with me, Foxfoot Crafts. Today's video is going to feature a time-lapse of a tattoo commission piece. Let's hop in. So, for this piece, I was commissioned by my sister-in-law. She reached out to me and had this G1 My Little Pony, and she asked me to come up with a goth version of this Gen 1 pony. Now, for any of you who know anything about me, you know that I am a big My Little Pony fan, especially the Gen 1 ponies. They are near and dear to my heart. And so I was really excited to get to draw a Gen 1 My Little Pony in a goth style. So I love goth stuff. I love My Little Pony. So this just definitely was something that I was on board and knew that I was going to be able to do. One thing that was pointed out to me when I was sharing this around online was this goth style pony almost looked like my pony Sona. I do have my own little My Little Pony character who looks very, gothy, I guess. And so I did get told that, which did make me giggle a little bit. I was trying really hard in this piece to match that Gen 1 style and trying to figure out how to make Gen 1 goth. So I went with, if you took a Gen 1 pony and dipped them into Hot Topic. So we have the bracelets, the raccoon tail hair, the fishnets, and pretty much everything that you would pick up with a Hot Topic gift card. And I was loving it. I was very much loving how this piece was turning out. However, when I showed this stage to my sister-in-law, she was not feeling it. She didn't like the nose ring. She was not happy with it. And so I did have to talk to her a little bit more to try to get a better idea. I figured maybe I misunderstood the assignment. And so she did share that she wanted it in the same style as one of her tattoos that she currently has, which is a Tim Burton style Pebbles from the Flintstones. So I had to go through and rework this piece to going from a goth Gen 1 pony to a Tim Burton style My Little Pony. Once I spoke to my sister-in-law and got a better idea of what she was looking for and kind of got her to clarify what she was thinking, I hit the drawing board again. This is something that I point out a lot to people who get tattoos or have artists work on tattoos or tattoo designs, is make sure that you are very clear on what you want. Always provide lots of references. And so if you reach out to someone and ask them to draw a particular thing, give them reference pictures. Hey, I like this style, or I like these colors, or I see a lot of tattoo people that will have a tattoo and you'll ask them about it, and they will say stuff that is like, well, it's not quite what I wanted, but the artist did a good job. Or, well, I wish the artist would have had done this. And all I can say to that is, make sure you're communicating with your artists. Your artists want to make sure that you are satisfied with the ultimate piece. And so make sure you're communicating exactly what you want. If you give 100 people an art prompt, you're gonna get 100 different styles and different takes on the same prompt. The example I always give is I want a wolf with a dream catcher. There are so many ways to interpret that. Are you wanting a realistic wolf? Are you wanting it in color? Are you wanting it black and white? Are you wanting it with shading? Are you wanting it anthropomorphic or furry or realistic or Balto or Disney? There's so many. Are you wanting it full body, just the face, jumping through it on the edge? There's just a lot of interpretation. So always make sure that you are being upfront with your artists, telling them what you want, giving them plenty of examples and references ahead of time. So that way they're able to make something that you're happy with, and later on down the years, you're not going to be telling somebody in a Starbucks line, yeah, I wish my artist had done this. My heart goes out to all the artists out there that have done pieces and been really excited, and they get really good responses from people and told that they love it, only to later on have their work, be badmouthed by somebody. So always communicate with your artists. Make sure that you're being very clear on what you want. Like I said, my sister-in-law has this little Tim Burton style pebbles. And so that is the style that I am matching here. Tim Burton is not what I think of when I think of goth. And I think, again, that's another reason that communication is so important. Like, sure, there are maybe goth aspects in Tim Burton, but I don't necessarily see Tim Burton and immediately think goth. I don't know why. Different folks, different interpretations. So always communicate. So for this, I, took a picture this time of my sister's tattoo. So that way I could pull elements of it and make sure that it really matches the same style. So stretching everything out, kind of Tim Burton-esque. Tim Burton always has like really lanky, long, stretched characters. Very funny enough, Gen 4, Nightmare Moon or Chrysalis feeling. Also, Gen 5 is very stringy, lanky, giraffe-looking. And so that's something important to note as well, that like my initial thought was, okay, you want me to match the Gen 1 style. You've provided me with a Gen 1 pony, you want me to match Gen 1 style. But that was not the case. She just wants the pony, not necessarily the Gen 1 style. So, more, honestly, very Gen 4 feeling to me, which is totally okay. I love Gen 4. I am an equal opportunist with most My Little Ponies, and so no shade on Gen 4. And I think that Gen 4 matches the Tim Burton style, and with this little Tim Burton pebbles will go nicely together. The pebbles has a lot of little marks for the shading, like hash marks. Is that hatching? I'm not quite sure. I did not go to art school. I'm not sure what the term is. So I tried to make sure that I incorporated that in this piece. And then the little curly cues, I, practiced tracing over the little curly cues on the end of that Pebbles hair to try to get a feel and make sure that the little curly cues in this pony's hair match as well, because that seems like a big element to this pony and to this Pebbles. trying to figure out where those little hash marks go took me a little bit longer than I thought it would. But again, I'm really trying to match that style of the pebbles, so ultimately it will be worth it in the end. I also decided to add some of those little curlies onto the ends of the wings to give it, instead of that soft Gen 1 wing look, it'll be a sharper, more Tim Burton style wing look. For the eyes, I did struggle. I honestly prefer the eyes being hollow because it matches the pebbles. The pebbles has just hollow eyes, white sclera, but looking at Tim Burton stuff, a lot of Tim Burton characters have those real beady, tiny pupils. Nightmare Before Christmas, Corpse Bride, just little tiny pupils, which again is very different than Gen 1 My Little Ponies. Gen 1 My Little Ponies have very large pupils and very small sclera, so very different from one another. The Pebbles also has some stitching and blood on her, so I went ahead and added that in. I did put these as different layers, so that way I was able to reach out and say, hey, do you like it with the stitching? Do you like it without the stitching? Do you like it with the blood, without the blood? What are we feeling? As we all know, shading is something that I struggle with. So looking at this piece, it has just a very low shading to it, and so all I did was use black again and turn down the opacity, and then I used white on top of that and did like a blur to it to try to again match that Pebbles style. And here we have the final piece. I think I did a really good job of matching the style. I did show the client, they were really happy with it. So overall, a big success. Really happy that I touched base with them and kind of clarified from my initial design that I was working on. So always remember to communicate with your artists and let them know ahead of time, because artists aren't always going to double check and reach out to you. Not all of them have the time to do that. So always make sure that you're very clear with your artists ahead of time, making sure that you specifically tell them what you want in a commission. As always, thank you everyone for tuning in. I'm Foxfoot Crafts across all the other social media platforms. Check me out over there, and I will see you next time. Bye!